I know that as part of the Spanx training bootcamp, one of the mandatory learning modules is comedy that every employee has to go through. So why is that important?
I didn't understand why everybody was so serious. So I thought, you know what? I don't subscribe to the fact that you have to act serious to be taken seriously. And I like to laugh at myself. When I worked in corporate America for a long time, and everybody was super uptight and super serious, and there was no humor and there was no levity, and then everybody at like 5 o'clock became ragingly hilarious. I was like, what's going on? And so the alcohol probably helped at 5, but anyway, I wanted to use humor, and I love to do that in the workplace. And yes, we have a boot camp at Spanx, a training boot camp when you come on board. And one of the modules is doing stand-up comedy. And I've used the comedic stuff that I did in my marketing. I mean, I wrote, "Don't worry, we've got your butt covered," right on my package when I first started in 2000, which was not very common to do, especially taking it to the Neiman Marcus to sell it. I named my company Spanx, which was, made people laugh, and believe it or not, it was very shocking at the time that I named the company Spanx. I actually had people hang up on me often. I would call them and say, "Hi, I'm Sarah from Spanx," and then they'd hang up. And I'd call back and I'd go, "I'm serious, I'm a real company, and my company's called Spanx." And they go, "Oh, I thought you were prank calling me." And then, naming my products, I broke into the world's most boring category. I mean, can we talk about shapewear? Who wants to talk about shapewear and undergarments? But I named it Power Panties. I started naming all my products, and it made people laugh, and it gave so much energy. And then all of a sudden you had Gwyneth Paltrow and Julia Roberts flashing their Spanx on red carpets and saying, "I'm wearing Spanx," like all these celebrities. And I think it's because I chose to do humor, and people wanted to participate in that. There was energy around that. So I use it in every aspect of the marketing. I use humor to turn around a situation when I'm bombing it. It might give me a second chance. When I cold called to sell fax machines door to door for 7 years, I learned very quickly that if I could make somebody laugh or smile, I'd get another 30 seconds before they'd slam the door in my face. It helps you move through pain. It's a wonderful tool.
Your early days, you described yourself as a nightmare boss. Those are your words, not mine. Was your work ethic just very different to everybody else's?
I was fanatical in my 20s. Helping Microsoft lead the way in software was the only thing that I really focused on. So, I worked weekends, I didn't believe in vacation, and so I really pushed people to work hard. Did you? And I was still learning how to manage people, particularly the different skill sets, the sales people, the accounting people. And so, fortunately, I think I'm a little bit better now.
So many things go wrong when you're starting a company, and often I think people ask, what mistakes should you avoid making? And my answer to that question is don't even bother trying to avoid mistakes, because you're going to make tons of mistakes, right? And the important thing is actually learning quickly from whatever mistakes you make and not giving up, right? And I mean, there are things every single year of Facebook's existence that could have killed us or made it so that it just seemed like moving forward and making a lot of progress just seemed intractable. But you just kind of bounce back and you learn. And nothing is impossible. You just have to kind of keep running through the walls.
I mean, the way I tend to view problems is from a physics standpoint. I think physics is a good analytical framework, and one of the key things in physics is to reason from first principles. This is contrary to the way most human reasoning takes place, which is by analogy. Reasoning from first principles just means that you figure out what are the fundamental truths or things that people are pretty sure are fundamental truths. And can you build up to a conclusion from that, from those principles, and then certainly if you come up with some idea and it appears to violate one of those fundamental truths, then you're probably wrong, or you should get a really big prize or something like that. This may seem like, I don't know, it may seem sort of obvious when it's explained, but it's actually not what people do. Reasoning by analogies is helpful because it's a shortcut, and it's mostly correct, but it tends to be most incorrect when you're dealing with new things, because it's hard to analogize to something really new.
Even after you had done your thing, there was still an ache to make sure that Yahoo itself was on track. Do you know what that was about?
Yeah, they were screwing everything up. You know, I mean, look, they had an opportunity to dominate streaming media. They also owned at the same time the patent to cost per click.
Yeah.
Right now, Google's entire business to this day is built around pay-per-click, rather not cost per pay-per-click. Yeah. So they had the entire patent for pay-per-click. Had they just said, "Sorry, Google, you can't use it," there would be no Google. Instead, they said, "Yeah, $133 million and give us some stock." They were just too nice, right? Which blinded them in a lot of respects. And I remember walking in with a $32 million sale, saying, "Okay, we're going to do streaming. We're going to sell all this company's content. You know, it's worth $32 million for us, and it's going to preempt these other potential competitors." And I forget if it was Jerry or Tim or whoever said, "No, we don't work that way. We don't preempt competition. We just leave it open." I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go buy a basketball team. They just didn't see these things. And I mean, it's a lesson in your businesses. There's going to be, everybody's always trying to kick your ass. And you have to figure out how to kick your own ass first. Seriously, because if you're not brutally honest with yourself in your own business about what your frailties are, someone else is going to find them. Yahoo didn't get that. Yahoo just thought, you know what, we're just going to continue moving forward and we'll just compete with everybody else, and you know, we have no other problems.